The galaxy learned the hard way to never threaten those under humanity's protection after Jeremy Campbell pulled that injured Barzan child from its stasis pod. When the small team from the USCS Galileo boarded that derelict ship floating dead in space, they expected to find clues to its fate. The dark corridors and eerie silence spoke volumes before they even stumbled upon the signs of brutal conflict. Scorch marks scarred the walls, debris and shattered equipment littered the decks. Blood, some red like a human's, some in shocking alien hues, splattered every surface. Still, nothing could prepare them for what they found in that hidden room. A single stasis pod hummed with power, the only sign of life amidst the carnage. Jeremy approached it cautiously and wiped away the condensation obscuring the glass. Oh my God. He stared at the tiny form curled inside. It's an infant. The baby alien looked like nothing they'd encountered. Bioluminescent patterns pulsed weakly across its translucent skin. One of its 4 small arms was clearly broken. Fluids that could only be blood seeped from a wound on its head. But the slow rise and fall of its chest left no doubt. It lived. Barely. Lieutenant Sorensen shook his head. The attackers must have missed it. Or maybe they left it for dead. He turned to Jeremy. Either way, this isn't our problem. We need to report back and let command deal with this. Deal with what? Leaving a baby to die alone out here? Jeremy snapped. We have to help. And then what? Sorensen challenged. We don't know what it is or what it needs. It could jeopardize our entire mission. Jeremy stood his ground. With all due respect, sir, our mission is to explore and make contact with new civilizations. How can we turn our backs on a helpless victim of a massacre? He swept his hand toward the destruction around them. We're better than that. Humanity has to be better than that. A long moment passed. Finally, Sorensen sighed. Fine, bring it. But the responsibility lies with you. Little did they know the repercussions that choice would bring, or the loyal protector and invaluable ally humanity would gain that fateful day when Jeremy pried open that stasis pod and lifted a dying alien child into his arms. Because when a powerful coalition of hostile races tracked that baby to the human ship and surrounded them, weapons charged and aimed, Jeremy and his crew refused to hand over the orphaned Barzan boy they'd named Keed. They were hopelessly outgunned and facing near certain death. But to the shock of every being watching, humanity didn't back down. And when Keed, now grown into a fierce and formidable fighter, stood with his human family against those who sought to finish what they'd started all those years ago, the galaxy learned exactly what it meant to hurt someone under humanity's protection. The hostile armada loomed on the display, a wall of gleaming ships overflowing with weapons. Jeremy's hands clenched on the armrests of his chair as the menacing voice crackled over the comms. Surrender the Barzan abomination or be annihilated. This is your final warning. Keed stepped forward, his bioluminescent patterns flaring. Jeremy, it's me they want. Let me go to them. I can't let all of you die for me. No. Jeremy stood and gripped Keed's shoulder. You're part of this crew, part of this family. We don't abandon our own. Sorensen nodded grimly. We're with you, Captain. But what's our play? We can't outgun them. Jeremy paced, mind racing. Then he whirled to his comms officer. Broadcast on all frequencies. Maximum range. Tell everyone what really happened to the Barzans. Send the log entries, Keed's medical scans, everything. Sir? I want the whole damn galaxy to know the truth of what these bastards did, Jeremy snarled. And send a distress call while you're at it. Maybe we can buy ourselves some time or a miracle. As the officer hurried to comply, a shout came from engineering. Captain, I've got an idea, Marcus called over the ship-wide comm. That tech we integrated from Kaid's pod? I think I know what it is. Kaid, get down here. Keed raced off the bridge, Jeremy close behind. They found Marcus elbow-deep in a tangle of glowing Barzan circuitry spliced into the main engineering console. Keed, is this what I think it is? Keed's eyes widened. A cloaking device. The most advanced in the galaxy. My people never had the chance to use it. Pain and grief flickered across his features before hardening into tenacity. But we can. I can bring it online. Jeremy clapped a hand on Keed's back as Marcus whooped. Then make it happen. Keed's hands flew over the console, his bioluminescence syncing with the alien tech. The ship thrummed with power. On the bridge, the view screen flickered and warped, the stars distorting oddly. The enemy ship suddenly broke formation, scattering in confusion. They've lost sensor lock, Sorensen called from the tactical station, his voice tinged with disbelief and rising hope. The cloak's engaged. Cade's triumphant cry came over the comm. We're invisible to their scanners. Cheers erupted across the bridge. Jeremy sagged back into his chair, adrenaline still singing through his veins. They weren't out of danger yet, but they had a chance. Helm, get us clear, then go dark. Jeremy locked eyes with each of his bridge crew in turn. We live to fight another day. The USCS Galileo slipped away, undetected, leaving the hostile armada far behind. Yet Jeremy knew their reprieve was only temporary. A chime from the comm station jolted him from his thoughts. His eyes widened as he read the message on the main screen. Ships, dozens of them from a host of species, were responding to their distress call. All claimed to have suffered at the hands of the same marauders hunting Kaid. All offered aid, protection, a united front against a common foe. Jeremy felt the weight of the moment, the implications settling heavy on his shoulders as he read the final line. Today you saved one of us. Tomorrow we stand together. You are not alone in this fight. He looked to Keed, seeing his own realization mirrored in the Barzan's eyes. This was bigger than them, bigger than their ship and crew. The fates had placed them on the front lines of a war they never chose. But as he watched Keed stand tall among his human crewmates, his family, Jeremy knew they would rise to meet it. They couldn't turn their backs on this injustice, not when they had the power to make a difference. Keed's presence had changed everything, thrust them into the heart of a battle for the very soul of the galaxy. There would be hard choices ahead, sacrifices and losses and pain. But there was no going back, only forward, to stand against the darkness and forge the brightest possible future for all. Jeremy reached for the comms, signal open, the weight of the watching stars heavy upon him as he began to speak. To all who would join us, be ready, we have work to do. The USCS Galileo surged forward, leading a ragtag fleet of alien vessels united in their cause. Jeremy gripped the arms of his captain's chair, eyes locked on the tactical display. All ships, form up, he ordered. Keed, you're up. Keed's hands danced across the modified console, his bioluminescent patterns pulsing rapidly. Barzan cloaking field engaged. They won't see us coming. The Allied fleet vanished from scanners, slipping past the enemy's outer defense grid undetected. One by one they struck key targets, fuel depots, weapons caches, command centers. Keed's intimate knowledge of Barzan tech allowed them to bypass security measures with ease. Another one down, Sorensen reported as an enemy installation erupted in flames. Their supply lines are in chaos. But their victory was short-lived. During a skirmish near an asteroid field, alarms blared across the Galileo's bridge. Unknown energy signature detected, the science officer shouted. It's some kind of bioweapon. Before they could react, a sickly green mist enveloped their ship. The ventilation system kicked in, and Keed collapsed, convulsing violently. Med team to the bridge, Jeremy yelled, rushing to his friend's side. Keed's skin had taken on a deathly pallor, his bioluminescence flickering erratically. In sickbay, human doctors worked frantically to stabilize the Barzan. Jeremy paced outside, guilt gnawing at him. He'd brought Kaid into this fight, exposed him to this danger. Days passed. Keed's condition deteriorated rapidly. Jeremy refused to leave his bedside, even as reports came in of renewed enemy attacks. You have to go, Kaid rasped, his once vibrant eyes now dull. The mission... Jeremy shook his head. I'm not leaving you. We started this together, and by God, we'll finish it together. As hope dwindled, Jeremy threw himself into research, combing through every scrap of data they had on Barzan physiology. In the depths of the ship's databanks, he stumbled upon fragmented records, genetic protocols from Keed's ancestors. "This is it," Jeremy exclaimed, his excitement drawing the attention of the medical team. "The key to fighting the virus. It's been here all along." With the new information, the doctors synthesized a cure. Keed's recovery was nothing short of miraculous. As strength returned to his limbs, he fixed Jeremy with an intense gaze. "Jeremy Campbell," Keed intoned formally, "you have saved my life and the future of my people. I swear to you the Barzan right of Falkren. Our fates are now forever entwined." A hush fell over sickbay as Keed completed the ancient oath. The depth of his gratitude was palpable, cementing an unbreakable bond between their two races. Reinvigorated by this sacred vow, they launched a daring assault on the enemy stronghold. The Galileo led the charge, weaving through a storm of weapons fire. "Keed, now!" Jeremy commanded as they neared the planet's defensive grid. Keed's eyes glowed with an otherworldly light. He stretched out his hands, channeling raw energy through the ship's systems. The planetary shields flickered and died. "All ships, concentrate fire on the capital," Jeremy ordered. The Galileo's main guns roared to life, raining destruction upon the alien city below. But the tide of battle turned swiftly. A lucky hit breached the Galileo's hull, alarms screeching as atmosphere vented into space. "Abandon ship!" Jeremy shouted, helping injured crew members to the escape pods. Keed's voice cut through the chaos. "Not today, my friend." His hands flew across the alien tech integrated into the ship's systems. A shimmering force field sprang to life around the Galileo, sealing the breach. On the main view screen, a massive weapon emerged from the planet's surface, its barrel aimed directly at them. Jeremy's blood ran cold as he realized what it was: a planet killer. "Keed, get out of here," Jeremy pleaded. "I'll try to divert it." But Keed stood firm. "My oath binds me to your fate, Jeremy. We face this together." As the doomsday weapon powered up, Keed's entire body began to glow. He poured every ounce of his strength into the ship's systems, weaving Barzan technology with human ingenuity. A pulse of energy unlike anything Jeremy had ever seen erupted from the Galileo. It struck the enemy weapon just as it prepared to fire, freezing the blast in midair. For a moment, time itself seemed to stand still. The shimmering energy pulse from the Galileo expanded outward, enveloping friend and foe alike. In its wake, the ravages of war vanished. Shattered hulls knitted themselves whole. Scorched planets bloomed anew. On the bridge of the Galileo, Lieutenant Sorensen blinked in confusion. Moments ago, he'd been choking on acrid smoke, blood seeping from a jagged shrapnel wound. Now he stood unharmed, uniform pristine. Around him, the bridge crew stirred, equally bewildered. "What just happened?" Ensign Chen whispered, her voice trembling. Before anyone could answer, a warm, golden light suffused the ship. It pulsed with life, with purpose. Sorensen felt a presence brush against his mind, familiar yet utterly alien. "Jeremy," he breathed, unable to comprehend the vastness he sensed. The light coalesced, taking on a vaguely humanoid shape. But where Jeremy's eyes should have been, Sorensen saw only swirling galaxies. When it spoke, the voice resonated on frequencies beyond human hearing. "We are more than Jeremy now," it said. "We are Keed. We are the song of creation itself." Sorensen struggled to form words. But how? The being that was once Jeremy and Keed gestured, and suddenly the crew could see. The desperate battle. Jeremy's sacrifice. Keed's anguish and fury. The profound melding of their essences into something greater than the sum of its parts. "You saved us all," Sorensen said, awe and gratitude overwhelming him. The cosmic entity nodded. The discord is silenced, harmony restored. Outside the viewports, the crew watched in amazement as their fallen comrades materialized on the decks of nearby ships. Joyous cries echoed across the comm channels as families were reunited, wounds erased as if they'd never been. Even the renegade attackers found themselves transformed. The hatred that had driven them evaporated like morning dew, replaced by a profound understanding of their place in the cosmic tapestry. The being that was Jeremy and Kide spread its arms wide, encompassing the fleet, the nearby planets, the very fabric of space-time itself. "We leave you now," it said, its voice filled with infinite compassion. "But know that we will always watch over you, guiding your steps among the stars." With a final pulse of golden light, the entity faded from view, but its presence lingered, a comforting warmth that settled into the hearts of all who witnessed this miracle of rebirth. Sorensen straightened his uniform, a sense of renewed purpose filling him. He turned to his crew, seeing the same mix of wonder and purpose in their eyes. "Well," he said, a smile tugging at his lips, "I'd say we have quite a story to tell when we get back to Earth."
You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.